Hello and welcome to Chill Under Pressure. I'm Les,
I'm John.
and we have Louise with us from UEI Instruments. Want to introduce yourself real quick, Louise?
Sure. My name's Louise Kellar. I am the National Training Manager for UEI Test Instruments.
Thanks for joining us today.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah, I've been trying to get this together. Last time we had a scheduling conflict, didn't work out, so it's good. I just saw you over at the National HVACR Education Conference. We were able to lock it in, so here we are. One of the things I noticed on your LinkedIn, it says you're a ophthalmologist. You came from the optician world into UEI Test Instruments. That's a kind of a different transition, I think. So how'd that happen?
I think some of it was just dumb luck, if you want to know the truth.
Yeah.
So my background was nothing in the HVAC world. My background was actually retail management, and you hit it. My very last job before joining UEI was to be an optician. So I got to tell you all the fun glasses and all of the things that look good and help everybody see better. That was almost 11 years ago. 11 years ago, UEI actually moved some of their operations into the Indianapolis market. I happened to hear about it and got to do an interview. And 11 years later, here I am.
National Training Manager.
How cool
Yes.
is that?
It's so much fun, so cool, and such a wonderful industry to be in.
Yeah. Well, it's really obvious to me from our conversations that you love what you do, right? And you really just must have come in just on fire for it and took off with it. And I see at the shows and we've talked outside. And so what I don't know what you want to share about that journey, but from the start, when they came to Indianapolis, you did the interview. You obviously I don't think, maybe you got national training manager day one, but I don't think so. So what's that look like?
No, I almost feel like that might have been a little scary if I just jumped into the training role because, I like to joke a lot about the fact that when I came into this industry, I knew there was a furnace, I knew there was an air conditioner, and I knew there was a thermostat. You flip the switch and you set a temperature, and then magic just happened for you.
It is magic.
Voila.
Right, it's magic. Yeah, so there's a whole lot more to this industry than just flipping a switch and having an air conditioner or a furnace I didn't even know what a heat pump was at that point. Believe it or not, I did a variety of roles for us before jumping into the training role. I started out in our customer service team. I progressed I was actually on our sales team for about 8 years. During that time that I was on the sales team, though, there were a lot of requests for more training. And so I was kind of doing that just specifically in my region. I had the central region. We're based here in Indianapolis, Indiana, which is where I'm coming from today. And because of those trainings, they just started taking off and snowballing. And then the other regions started seeing what I was doing and was hoping that, maybe they could get in on this. And it just kind of spiraled into a full-time job. About 2.5 years ago, I jumped into it. We got to meet each other the first time last year at HVAC Excellence.
Mhm.
I misspoke on a different podcast. I thought I'd only been going for 4 years. I've actually been going this was my 5th year of going. And I have to tell you, there's something special about that training side that I really love, I embrace, and it's honestly a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's such a cool conference too.
Oh my goodness. Yes. It is such a great conference to be able to go to. I love going to it. It's one of the highlights of my year, and just the people that you meet, and
Yes.
everybody's so passionate about it. It's a special place in the training world. And I think one of the things that you all are probably seeing, as this was your second year to attend?
Yeah, it's our second year. John's first year this year.
It was my first, and I've been to so many shows and we have the HRs and all the things, and they're great shows. But I think this one really stood out to me as unique because you have those instructors, like you said, they're so passionate what they do. You have the ESCO team, that leadership team is fantastic. Howard and all those, the team over there is fantastic. It just brought a whole different light. And at first I'm like, why are we even, why are we here? And then you start to meet everybody there, and they have two lives. They have their professional life, what they do every day, and they have like this passion, this burning passion to teach others, and it's fantastic to see that.
Yeah, and that's what it is everybody wants to share their knowledge. They want to grow, they want to better themselves, they want to better the next generation. What's the best way to do it? Because the other thing, like in AHR, there's just so much going on. It's almost hard to dial it into one specific focus. But when you get to HVAC excellence, we're all there for the exact same thing. Most people are on a very similar level, and it's the people are just overall really nice. I
Yeah.
have to say that. Like, for all the years that I've gone to the show, like everybody from the ESCO organization to the people that go there, they're really nice, they're really passionate, and they're willing to share any of their information that they have. And I like not having that gatekeeper mentality that may have been around the industry many years ago. And I think that's important to grow the industry in itself.
Yeah, and I think they're committed and dedicated, because they start serving breakfast at 5:30 in the morning, and the last class ends at like 5:30, sometimes 6, right? So
Right.
and there's stuff afterwards. So they're all in while they're there, which is great to see, because that's a long day that you're signing up for when you go, and all the breakouts and the sessions, and it speaks to the quality of it, that people are willing to do it, and the quality of the vendors like UEI that show up.
You say they started breakfast at 5:30 in the morning. For those of you who haven't been, the very first session though kicked off at 6 a.m. Monday
Yeah.
morning, and one of us had that lucky straw for the 6 a.m. class. And I'll be honest, I did not have high hopes. I did not have high hopes that it would be a super well attended class. I personally really thought if I had maybe a dozen people who needed a spot to be able to eat breakfast, that I would have called that a victory. If you would have told me that I probably had close to 50 people that were showing
Mhm.
up for that conference, and there were other sessions that run concurrent with that.
Yeah.
One of them had to do with accreditation, which is huge for what their industry does and what ESCO specifically does. And then another one, you always feel a little bit bad when you're also have the same time as one of your friends. I was also up against Dirk Nauman from Visual 3D, and
Mhm.
he's been doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
So when I show up at 6 a.m. with how to program your VCR and other useful life skills, I wasn't quite sure that the turnout was going to be there at 6 a.m.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that's very humble and modest of you to just say, just a place for breakfast eaters to come, because you were voted 2025 most HVAC influential instructor and trainer for 2005. So I mean, there you bring up you're kind of this superstar. I met you at AHR, and yourself. I met you at AHR this last year, and I couldn't even get to you to say hi. You were surrounded constantly about people that want to know about more about your products, more about CO2 and the effects, and you yourself. So it's kind of neat to see that.
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit. I should have gotten a selfie with the whole FM Hero team this year at uh, HVAC Excellence, but we'll put that on our 2027
There you go.
agenda. For those of you who may not follow me on the social media, one of my big things that I started a couple of years ago was I actually started not only posting selfies. I like to have a lot of fun in life, and selfies are a great way to be able to do that. But I also started kind of a hashtag that people have started to follow, which is hashtag Cool Kids of HVAC,
I saw that.
and that it really became kind of like my homage to everybody that is in the
Mhm.
industry, because you look around, and I've said that to several people, and they'll be like, we were never the cool kids. And I'm like, oh, you are the cool kids.
Now you
Because yeah, it's very true though. Like you go to any of those conferences and the amount of knowledge that is shared, the amount of just personal journeys to get to where people have gotten, like they're really cool kids. So
Mhm.
I was happy, and it's kind of taken a life of its own in all of my social medias. So if you haven't found me, go find me, and you can follow the hashtag of cool kids of HVAC too. And if you ever see me at a conference, stop me. And if I haven't said, let's take a selfie, say, we're going to take our selfie. I've had multiple people who have done that as well.
I want to be a cool kid too, you know. So
There you go.
Absolutely. We'll do our selfies. I know Les has gotten in there a few times.
That's right.
But you know, we gotta expand it out because I think there's so many people bringing so much to this industry. And if we're friends on social media, I actually do try to take the time and actually link you in the picture that you're actually in. So you're not surprised, you know, 2 years down the road that there's some random picture of you on the internet.
Yeah. No, no worries. It's only the AI stuff that scares me when there's a random picture of me.
I've seen some of
That's when I go,
those too, you know.
unlimited possibilities.
so you want to talk about UEI, some of the stuff you do there?
Well, we can talk about all of those things. It's not like
Great.
I'm ever at a loss of words unless I actually lose my voice, which for the second year in a row has happened right after HVAC excellence because it is nonstop.
Yeah.
Um,
So
but
let's get some stuff on UEI out there. What do you want to fill us in on with that?
yeah, well, you know, I think there's a couple of cool things about UEI test instruments beyond me just working there. One of them is that we are actually a second generation family owned business. And I
Oh,
think
wow.
there's something very special. You all may understand. There's
Hmm.
something special about being able to work for a family owned business. In fact, I was just at a conference with Michael and Jonathan Kane. Their parents started um, the Kane organization in like the 1950s. So we've been around for over 70 plus years. It started as a UK company and then migrated over. And under the US logo, we go by UEI Test Instruments. Um, it's it's a company. We listen to our customers. We've kind of revolutionized. We do a lot. I know you guys focus a lot on the refrigeration and the cooling side, but we also do a lot on the combustion side. So we make combustion analyzers, CO detector, personal CO detectors for contractors and things like that. I speak a lot about the dangers of CO and how to perform combustion analysis. But we do also have a cooling side to our business. Part of that is, gosh, it's probably been 4 or 5 years ago. We came out with a product that was called the UEI Hub, and it's wireless refrigeration probe. So instead of having to have all of the gauges and everything like that, it's a completely wireless set. So that was one of the products that we came out with. But we've recently updated our app, which is really neat because now our app allows us not only to integrate in our hub product, we expanded out that hub app, and it's taken all of our wireless probes and been able to put them in one centralized place. So now
That's cool.
not only are you going to be able to look at your the refrigeration side, so your pressures and temperatures, you're going to be able to look at what the weight of your refrigerant is because it interacts with our wireless scales. You're going to be able to test airflow because we have an airflow meter that's completely wireless. You can check temperature, humidity, any of the products that we offer in the wireless realm. We were able to put that into the app. And now that app actually allows us to have a little bit more reporting within it, which then allows you, because if you're working with a refrigerants, you need to know how much you had when you started. You need to know how much that you put in, maybe how much I've recovered, any of those things. And now you're going to be able to have that in your centralized app, which has made it really convenient to get that more comprehensive view.
Yeah, that's all very vital that you're able to access that, not just have it, but be able to access it.
Yes, and, there is also something nice about having reporting to things because I don't know about everybody else's handwriting, but, sometimes mine is not. It might look a little like a doctor. I'm
Right.
really glad that when I do a lot of trainings, I can use, like, PowerPoints and you don't have to see my real handwriting skills because, you know, it's amazing when those numbers look alike, how much of a difference, though, it can make in your reporting. So, having something that's auto-generated is fantastic for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. So you get is there like you capture the scale weight and then it is like just enters the app like it's a Bluetooth connection or
Yeah,
right?
so
Is
it's
that
a wireless connection, so you can
yeah,
capture it, you just add it to the report, and you're gonna be able to have it right in there for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, eliminates decimals in the wrong spot. No, it's
Right?
12.3 pounds, not 123,
It's amazing. I feel like we're gonna go into, like, Spinal Tap where they accidentally put, like, inches instead of feet,
right?
and then you wind up with the 18-inch set instead of the 18-foot set, like,
Right.
you know?
100%.
Yeah.
What else other than the probes? What you guys got other new things on the market? Like what were you showcasing at AHR and the conference outside of that?
Yeah, so there were kind of two major things that I was highlighting at the conference. The first thing that I was highlighting happened to be what we call our UEI clip. The UEI clip is a personal CO detector. I mentioned I speak a lot about the dangers of CO. People don't necessarily think about it because it's colorless, it's odorless, it's tasteless, it's invisible, but it can cause a lot of damage. We hear stories about people dying from CO poisoning.
Mhm.
I bring a lot of attention to those who suffer from long term injury from low levels of CO poisoning that people don't realize. So we designed this product. I didn't grab one with me. It's in my backpack, and I just got done traveling to another show. But it's about the size of a business card, maybe just a little bit longer, and it is designed to alarm when you see more than 20 parts per million in the ambient air. So, ASHRAE standards say you can have 9 parts per million, is where a house can be. First responders will evacuate out at 35 parts per million.
Wow.
So, this one goes on at 20 parts per million. It'll start alarming for you. And that's been really important because you never know where some of our contractors are walking into,
Mhm.
especially when they start getting into some of those mechanical rooms, those can have. The other thing, though, that we found is a lot of refrigeration techs. So maybe they're inside of a cooler or something like that, and they have their torches going, and somebody goes, "Oh, look, the door's open," and shuts it, and they're busy, they don't notice, and that
Right.
whole chamber is now filling up with CO.
Yeah.
So that's been one of the really, really hot products that we've been talking a lot about. The other
Well, and
thing, though,
that's
that
like you could take
yeah.
that on a personal level too. Like you
Oh
could use
yeah.
it. Like
Oh
there's
yeah.
people who
Oh,
on vacation in cabins, right? Then they end up passing away on vacation, right? But if they have this is something you would just wear on your body, right? And
yeah,
you just like a
exactly.
lanyard
Your tool
or
bag
set it by
or
your put it on a nightstand by your bed when you're staying in a, maybe an off-grid cabin somewhere or whatever that's using propane or you're not familiar
Yeah.
with how the appliances are run or the condition of the facility and they're not in
Yeah,
there.
so it has a lanyard option. So I at the show you saw me wearing it around. It was right on my name badge. For a lot of other purposes, though, I clip it to my backpack because it has a little clip on
Mhm.
the back. So, and my backpack pretty much goes everywhere I go. You're generally not going to be leaving that behind. So yeah, this one has been great. It's proving its worth in the marketplace. And because you don't have to think about it, there's not a number that you're, constantly having to look at. It's
Right.
just going to alarm. We our official slogan is it's always on. I joke about it as it reminds me of the old Ronco commercials. Just set it and forget it.
right, right.
Um, because once you activated it, you don't have to do anything else actively.
Mhm.
It will alarm when it sees that level. And so that makes it easy. And I think we're all in the business of how can we make our lives easier?
Yeah.
Easier and safer, right?
Exactly.
I feel like the CO2, the dangers of CO, and you know, it's widely looked over. You know, I think it's one of those things that could be taken very, very seriously. And I think that the education level isn't up to where it should be. I think a lot of people aren't trained, and this is a product that can be used across uh, 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 tons of markets, you know,
Yeah.
and professions privately.
Even just like
Absolutely.
tent camping, right? You
Yeah,
run the heater in your tent, stuff like
sure.
that, right? And then so I think it's to your point, like people don't pay attention. It's that thing that happens. I don't really understand it. I know it's out there and it
That's
always
right.
happens to somebody else.
Yeah. And, I think it's also one of those things that we tend to think about CO, carbon monoxide, only more so in the wintertime. And we
Mhm.
think about it because we think about it as being with a fuel fired appliance. So people think about the propane, they think about the natural gas. They're aware that those will create CO. They don't necessarily pay attention to maybe they have a wood pellet burner in their house, or they have
Mhm.
a fireplace in their house, or they have a gas water heater in their house. Those are all sources of CO. Ovens, ovens are a whole other beast, right? Because they're not direct vented. Think about your house. Your oven doesn't have a direct vent. If it's gas, though,
Right.
it's
Right.
producing CO, and that CO isn't enclosed in that chamber. That's why we have those big exhaust hoods up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so
Well, I think to your
I
point
spend a
too
lot of
about
time talking about that. Yeah, go ahead.
I think your point too about the constant exposure to low level,
Yeah.
right? There's a long-term effect of that. It doesn't have to get so being alerted that, oh, I'm in this. Does it just is it constantly giving you a readout of what it is and just alarms at 20 or
So it doesn't have a physical readout. So there's no
okay,
numbers you have to pay attention to. It
okay,
will just start alarming when it sees 20 parts per million or more, and that's your sign to get the heck out of Dodge.
right.
Um, because the lower levels we're finding out how much damage they can really do to a person and how underreported that actually is. Um, you can I always liken it because the people that I know that have had long-term injury from it, it's always these mystery illnesses, and I think we probably have all encountered our friend that had a mystery illness, and then maybe they moved and whatever it was suddenly went away.
Huh.
It could have been something that was CO related. I'm not saying I'm not a doctor or anything like
Right.
Sure.
that. Um,
I was an
but
ophthalmologist.
right, right. I'm just an optician. I just told you you look good in your glasses. Or maybe you should try this one instead. You got to have a little honesty in there in a tactful way. But there's things like people who have chronic headaches is could be a sign that you're exposed. People who feel like they have the flu all the time, or maybe they feel nauseous all the time. Those are some of the basic forms of just low level CO injury. When you start getting into higher levels, though, you can actually get things like irritation. So maybe somebody who's cranky all the time, they
Mhm.
might be suffering from some CO poisoning.
Maybe I've been
Um,
suffering
it
from some
can
CO poisoning lately.
Do you always feel better when you leave your house? Like, that might be a sign. But there's so many things, and you talk to a doctor, right? And a doctor, they're like, "Oh," you're like, "Oh, I have headaches all the time," or "I feel like I have the flu all the time." And so they don't necessarily look for what the side effects of CO are.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the go-to default. Like, in my brain, CO causes everything to be wrong. Like, it's my go-to. Do you have a gas fired? Like, I start asking those questions to my friends when they get something sudden, and they're like, okay, not everything is CO related. I was like, but it might be. You don't
Yeah,
know.
can't
Talk
rule
to
it
your
out.
doctor. Let's go check this out and make sure.
Are there
Um,
are there permanent damages that come from not being alerted? You've referenced headaches and those kinds of things. Is there long term damage that can come from being exposed to the higher levels
oh, absolutely.
besides death?
Besides death, yes, there is because long-term injury, everybody recovers from CO poisoning differently. It's your metabolism, right? You could see two people who eat the identical foods and they do the exact activities, but one might be overweight and one might be really, really thin. So everybody's body purges it. So you may not lose all of those residual side effects because when you get exposed to higher levels, it can and does start affecting some of the brain. It can affect people's mobility. And then, there's a lot of studies on what are the treatments for somebody who has long term exposure. They thought it was one way, and now science is leaning that it may be a little bit of a different way. So, my goal would be let's not have to do the research of how to fix the problem in the end. Let's stop the problem before it ever actually happens.
Right. Well, I see a lot of
Yeah.
uses for a little personal
Yeah.
CO2 monitor.
Absolutely.
CO.
Well,
And I, I,
CO.
I, I,
Sorry.
okay, no,
CO.
no, because, and I say that because I just want to point out because people get them so confused. So carbon monoxide, the way that it affects people, and carbon dioxide, the CO2, it's still CO2 does still have dangerous effects. Like when we're talking about like air quality and things, they're looking at the CO2 levels because again, it's going to prevent oxygen. But the long-term effects of CO2 poisoning versus CO poisoning are very different. But I think a lot of people, you're not alone in that. But I wanted to make that differentiation that, we're going to look, we don't want CO in the ambient air, period. CO2 though, I mean, that's just it's a byproduct of
Right.
our breathing
Mhm.
more so. So when you have a room that has lots of people in it, that CO2 and it can start causing issues for people. It's just not the same long-term effects that CO or
Got it.
carbon monoxide will do.
Okay.
Yeah, great. I'm glad you made that distinction because that is a big differentiator when it comes to those
Hmm.
kind of things and what you're trying to detect and separate
Hmm.
out.
Yeah. And it's one of those things. I have probably made that mistake 100 times in my lifetime. And I don't know about you. I'm not a chemist. So my background wasn't again in any of those things. And I had to do a lot of research and a lot of learning to understand and differentiate what those were. But CO and CO2 are both byproducts of the combustion process.
Hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool product.
Yeah.
So that was one of your big ones, right? And then
Yeah.
this is our second one. Or
The second is that we introduced some new clamp meters. So
Yeah.
we had one that we're just doing. It's just we already had it on the market. It was our EPC everyday professional clamp meter, which has all the functions that a contractor needs to be able to do their job on a daily basis. And instead of, if you look at our coloring, UEI, our traditional meters and analyzers and everything have been yellow and black. But we wanted to celebrate the nation's 250th birthday this year.
Cool.
So we came out with an anniversary edition of it that comes all in black. So it looks cool. And then we put the little USA 250 logo on there as well.
Oh, I
Nice.
saw that. I didn't know it was a celebratory
Yeah.
edition.
So
That's cool.
yeah, it's a nice limited edition. We even put it on the case. The case has the USA 250 logo on it as well. So that was just like a nice little change to, do something to celebrate the nation's 250th. But we also came out with a HAC, our high accuracy clamp meter. So our HAC, which is our high accuracy clamp meter, it's really setting a new gold standard in accuracy at low amps through the amp clamp. So we reduced down the amount of amps that it could take through the amp clamp down to about 200 amps, which for most contractors, they're not going to ever exceed being able to do that. But we wanted to have that high accuracy because it's so important nowadays when we're talking about things like some of our VRFs and VFDs that are out there in the world. They need to have a very high level of precision when
Sure.
measuring that amp draw. So we went with the lower amps, but it gave you a much higher resolution and accuracy when we get to that low level. It's also really important for being able to diagnose some of the things out there, is being able to have that high accuracy. In addition to that, we added things like power factor and wattage. Um, wattage is hugely important. How much energy consumption is that particular unit actually taking? And that's kind of an interesting one because I've heard a lot of studies. I don't know if you all heard them last week either, but according to some entity, we have enough electricity and we have enough power for all of the grid and all of the electric that's coming if all the AC systems were running at 100%
Wow.
efficiency. If they were running at 100%. So if they were finely tuned, every single unit
Yeah.
across the country was finely tuned, we'd have enough power for the entire country, and we'd probably have more. However, other studies show about 80% of those AC systems are not properly working.
Yeah, they're not
So
100% efficient.
so there's been a lot of industry push to be able to have that higher efficiency. So we came out with that HAC clamp meter to help the contractor with it, and that thing has been really taking off for us. People love it. It has a great feel in the hand. It comes with all the accessories that they need to be able to do their job, including those little back probes that they want. They want to have those to be able to work on like Molex plugs in the mini split
Yeah.
application. So we give it all fully accessorized for you.
It sounds like you're putting a Ferrari type of Lamborghini, in the technician's tool bag. They have the speedometer of 250 miles an hour, 275 miles an hour, but we drive right around 65 on an
Yeah.
everyday basis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
So
cool.
while you have the ability to do more, we dialed it in so it's going to be more accurate for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good. So we're getting ready to kind of wrap this up. So what are some other things? What might we want to know about Louise Kellar outside of her
This is my favorite part of the episode.
Oh, this
Yeah.
is the favorite part of the episode.
For me, I love to dig into the personal life. Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. I will tell you some fun things about me beyond UEI, and that is I'm a huge fan of traveling. I have been to all 50 of the US states,
Hey, cool.
which has been quite the feat. Up
Mhm.
next, maybe I'll try to get all the Canadian provinces. I've been to a fair amount of them. But I love traveling. I love meeting people. I think you guys already know I love talking. Um, I like to speak a lot of words. So traveling is probably one of my ultimate passions. I love going to concerts. I love
Okay.
There's something special about being able to see live music, and seeing it at different venues. Um,
Yes.
it doesn't even have to be somebody that I'm absolutely in love with or really love their music, because when you get to see it live, there's something that's really special about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. Is there a preferred method of travel? Do you like to drive? Do you like to fly?
I
Hitchhike?
think it just I'm not gonna say I'm doing the hitchhike thing, that might have been fun if I was around in the '70s or something, but
Right.
nowadays, you always have an Uber a phone call away,
There you
right?
go. There you go.
It depends on where I go. Sometimes you just want to get there really, really fast, right? So if I'm going to Vegas, I want to fly there because I want to get there really, really fast and enjoy my time.
There you go.
But I also really enjoy a good road trip and a good journey somewhere, because sometimes you don't know what you're going to see. You
Yeah.
don't know when you might find out while you're driving through Orange, Connecticut, that there is a Pez museum. I had no idea. Saw a billboard, said, got off the road. I showed up about 20 minutes before they opened. I'm like, nope, I got to see this in its entirety.
This trip just got detoured to the Pez Museum.
You know,
Funny.
I think I told you recently I was actually out in Arizona, and I was down. I kind of spent a lot of time down in the Tucson area. I went a little east of Tucson, and then I realized how close I was to the Thing. So for years I have seen the billboard, "Come see the Thing," and I'm like, seriously, I'm like 20 minutes away from the Thing. I have to go see the Thing. They have done such a great advertisement that, over the years, if I don't go see the Thing, I am going to kick myself. So I went and did a thing, saw a thing, and now I have stories about the Thing.
There you go.
Life mission complete.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So you like to travel, and you get to do a lot of that for work, right? So how often do you travel? Like 2 weeks a month?
It depends. So I do a lot of different trainings. My preferred method is to do them in person. However, covering 50 states because I am a party of one is a little bit much. So I don't always get to travel in person, but I do also offer a variety of like hybrid trainings. A lot of times we'll partner with like our local reps or a local wholesaler, and I get piped in on a big screen, and everybody, like, I get to do all the technical training. And then I joke I have a bunch of Vanna Whites out there that will show off my product for me. But
Nice.
there's something, because we can't be everywhere all at once.
Right.
We have not perfected that in our science yet. Maybe one day we'll have teleportation, but since we don't, I do a lot of hybrid trainings as well, which has been really, really nice. To be able to make sure that we are being able to train across the country in a timely fashion.
Very good. So what's the best way if someone wants CO training or UEI training? What's the best way for them to connect with you?
So there's a couple of ways that you can do it. You can email me, Louise K at ueitest.com. You can look me up on the socials. I know a lot of people hit me up on the LinkedIn, and the Facebook is where you're going to primarily see me. You find me. Strangely enough, my picture is not me taking a selfie. Actually, it is me taking a selfie. I take that back. I was going to change it the other day, but it is actually, I did take a selfie in that one. I thought it wasn't for a moment. But you'll recognize me. You'll see the name. It's pretty easy to hit me up. And if all else fails, you can visit our website, ueitest.com. We have a little chat bot. They'll remind you of how to get a hold of me. And if you want to be really, really daring, you can call us. We have an 800 number.
The old-fashioned
1-800. I know. 1-800-547-5740. And we have live people that will answer your phone call.
Wow, look at that.
It's not AI. It is real people. So if you are feeling really daring and want to use a phone as an actual phone, we'll answer it for you.
We should try
That's
this
awesome.
out. We should try this out live, right?
It'd be like the one time everybody ran away and is at lunch, and he's like, she told me.
Okay, well, Louise, it's great having you. I'm glad we were able to finally coordinate it and get it worked out. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us on Chill Under Pressure. I'm Les.
I'm John.
All right. Thanks, Louise.
Thank you so much.